I knew about the Cinderella Rule. I just didn't take it seriously until I ended up in a truck in this kind of duck casualty situation. And if you don't know what the Cinderella Rule is, it's basically this idea that nothing good happens after midnight. And I used to think that was a little dramatic. Like, how bad could it really get? Also, quick disclaimer, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, I don't have any licensing to give anybody advice. I'm just a girl with opinions and a strong history of very questionable after midnight decisions. So take what resonates, ignore what doesn't, and in my opinion, don't make any major life choices after midnight. Because I'm telling you, something really does shift after midnight. Like the decisions get a little questionable and your boundaries, they get a little blurry and your thoughts get loud. Somehow our confidence goes way up and our judgment plummets. And this is the exact night that I realized this rule exists for a reason. So I go on this first date and it starts pretty normal. Fair, this is not a men are the problem situation, right? This was just a very chaotic set of decisions from both sides that ended not great. So he takes me to the bar, but it's closed. He's got to use the restroom, so he runs into Tractor Supply and uses the bathroom. And I'm just sitting there like waiting, and it's taking him a minute. Comes out, he's got a box with 2 live ducks in it. I immediately lose it because I'm like, sir, these require heat lamps, some sort of planning, and we argue a little bit. And he's like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, it's not fine. And in the moment, I should have probably left. That was a pretty impulsive decision. That probably there should have been the let's go home. But I didn't because it was still pretty early on in the date and the bar's about to open. Everything still feels salvageable. But we go out, we're dancing, having a good time. I'm ignoring the fact that there's ducks in his truck, and that kind of becomes background information. And then we come out later, and it's after midnight. And this is where everything goes very downhill very quickly. He brings the ducks out of the truck and starts showing people. And this specific, very drunk girl wants to hold, of course she wants to hold one. She wants to hold the duck. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is just such a bad idea. And at the time, I don't fully process it. I'm just like, we need to go. Okay, so I get in the truck and I open the box and I replay the events and I realize she had dropped one of the ducks. And there's one duck alive in the box and there's one that is not. And I'm like sitting there like, how is this my situation right now? Like, I'm a pretty big karma person. And in that moment, I'm like, this feels personal. Where did I mess up in life to end up here? Right? This is not a normal first date experience. And I'm sitting there like, what series of decisions led me to this exact moment? And then it hits me. I stayed. Like, this whole situation only exists because I didn't leave when I should have. That's the Cinderella Rule. And again, no villain here, just a situation that probably should have ended sooner than it did. Like, this is that rule and the consequences of not acting on it, act like in real time. But it also made me think about something else. I don't think midnight creates bad decisions. I think it just kind of removes the filter of good decisions. Like, during the day, we're busy, we're distracted, and then everything quiets down the later it gets. And whatever you were ignoring just starts to show up. And this might sound like a weird connection, but stay with me here. You know how they used canaries in the coal mines? Like, they're really sensitive. They pick up on things super early. And honestly, I think that's how women are, right? We notice things. We feel when things are off. We see red flags even before we're willing to title them as a red flag. And somewhere along the way, we got taught to ignore our own signals. But that's actually a superpower. That's the part of us that knows. That's a part of you that knows. And midnight kind of forces you to hear it because everything else gets real quiet. So what you already felt earlier finally gets loud enough for you to hear, to notice. So yeah, the rule probably wouldn't have saved me from all the chaos, but I do think the Cinderella Rule is a really solid tool to have in your back pocket. Not as something strict, but as something to come back to. affect you. And there's definitely exceptions, right? Like those nights where you're in a space that feels completely safe, where you trust the people you're with, where you can let your guard down a little bit anyway, where it's okay if you lose your shoes or your filter. But those moments are rare, and you usually know when you're in one. Outside of that, the rule is kind of there to catch you before things start getting a little sideways. It's about giving yourself a boundary, a moment to pause, to go home and actually sit with how the night felt before you talk yourself out of what you already know, feeling like you have to fix it or manage it or make it make sense first. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just decide that you're done and to go home. And honestly, leaving sooner probably would have been better for everyone involved, for me, for him, and definitely for the duck. And listen, I clearly don't always follow the rules either. That's how I ended up with ducks. But I do think that it's a good one to have, even if you only follow it like 60% of the time. So if you find yourself in a situation after midnight, just know you've probably already broken the rule. And that's okay. And I kind of want to start something with that. I want to hear your stories too. I'm calling them Canary Confessions. Like your late night decisions, your questionable moments, the why did I stay stories, the ones that we laugh about later, but in the moment you're like, this cannot be real. So if you have one, send me your Cinderella crash outs. I'll drop a link in the bio. Anyways, till next time, Canaries.